Good day, students. Welcome to this JSS 1 Social Studies lesson on government, meaning and levels. Government is the system by which a country or community is controlled and organized. Without government, there would be no roads, no schools, no hospitals maintained by public funds, no law enforcement. Society would descend into chaos. Nigeria operates a federal system of government with 3 tiers: federal, state, and local government area. Understanding how these 3 levels relate is essential for every Nigerian citizen. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to define government and explain its importance, describe the 3 arms of government: executive, legislative, judicial, explain the 3 tiers of Nigerian government: federal, state, local, describe the functions of each tier, and explain why Nigeria operates a federal rather than a unitary system. Let us begin. What is government? Government is the system or group of people with the authority to make and enforce laws and manage the affairs of a state or community. Government performs 4 essential functions: maintenance of order, law enforcement, courts, prisons, provision of public services, roads, schools, hospitals, water, electricity, defense and security, and Nigerian armed forces, police, DSS, economic management, budgets, taxation, regulation of commerce. 3 arms of government: separation of powers, doctrine of Montesquieu. Executive implements, enforces laws and manages day-to-day government operations. Federal, President of Nigeria and the Cabinet, Federal Executive Council, State, Governor and Commissioners, Local, Chairman and Councillors. Legislature makes laws. Federal, National Assembly, Senate plus House of Representatives, 109 senators, 360 reps, state, state houses of assembly, local, council. Judiciary, interprets laws and administers justice. Federal, Supreme Court, Court of Appeal, Federal High Court, state, state high courts, local, magistrate courts. Why separation of powers? Prevents dictatorship, no single arm can dominate. Checks and balances, the legislature checks the executive, can impeach the president, the judiciary can declare executive actions unconstitutional, judicial review, the president can veto laws. Nigeria's 1999 constitution, as amended, reestablishes this system. Nigeria's 3-tier federal system. Nigeria is a federation. Power is constitutionally divided between the central, federal, government and the component states, 36 states plus FCT Abuja, with local government as the 3rd tier. This federal structure recognizes Nigeria's enormous diversity, over 250 ethnic groups, 36 states, varied geography and resources. A unitary system with all power at the center would be unworkable. Tier 1, Federal Government. Seat, Abuja, Federal Capital Territory. Head, President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, currently Bola Ahmed Tinubu, sworn in May 29, 2023. Legislature, National Assembly, Senate, 109 senators, 3 per state plus 1 FCT, and House of Representatives, 360 members, allocated by population. Functions, exclusive federal list, only the federal government can legislate on this. Defense and national security, Nigerian Army, Navy, Air Force, Police. Foreign affairs, embassies, international treaties. Currency and monetary policy, Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, Nigerian Naira. Immigration, Nigeria Immigration Service, NIS. Customs and Excise, FAS, Federal Inland Revenue Service, Nigeria Customs Service. Major infrastructure, federal roads, airports, seaports, Lagos, Opopo, 1, Tinkan. Federal universities and polytechnics, University of Lagos, Ahmadu Bello University, University of Nigerian Nsukka, Obafemi Awolowo University, etc. Tier 2, State Government. Nigeria has 36 states plus FCT. Each state has its own governor, State House of Assembly, and state judiciary. State functions, concurrent list, shared with federal education, state primary and secondary schools, health, state hospitals, state Ministry of Health, Agriculture, roads, state roads, housing, environment, security, state police advocates, though current constitution gives the federal police national authority. Governance, Governor State Executive Council, Commissioners, State Legislature, House of Assembly, 24 to 40 members depending on state judiciary, high courts, Sharia courts in northern states operating for personal/family law under Muslim citizens. Tier 3, Local Government Area, LGA. Nigeria has 774 LGAs, each governed by an LGA chairman, elected, a council of councillors, and LGA administrative staff. LGA functions, 4th schedule of the 1999 Constitution. Construction and maintenance of roads, within LGA. Markets and motor parks. Slaughterhouses. Primary schools, administration and maintenance, though often poorly funded. Health centers, primary health care. Refuse disposal. Licensing of bicycles, canoes, wheelbarrows. Agriculture, local extension services. Birth, death, and marriage registration. The LGA crisis, Nigerian local governments are famously weak and poorly funded. Most LGA revenues come from the Federal Accounts Allocation Committee, FAC, rather than local taxes. Many LGAs are seen as outposts of state governments rather than independent governing bodies, a persistent governance problem. Concurrent list, both federal and state governments can legislate on concurrent matters, education, health, agriculture. When there is conflict, federal law prevails. Residual powers, matters not specifically listed, states can legislate on residual matters. 3 examination questions. Question 1. Explain the separation of powers doctrine with reference to Nigeria. The separation of powers is the constitutional principle that the 3 functions of government, making laws, legislature, implementing laws, executive, and interpreting laws, judiciary, should be performed by separate, independent institutions so that no single body can dominate. In Nigeria, the 1999 Constitution establishes the National Assembly, legislature, to make laws, the President and Cabinet, executive, to implement laws, the courts, judiciary, Supreme Court, Court of Appeal, federal and state high courts, to interpret laws and adjudicate disputes. Checks and balances prevent abuse. The National Assembly can impeach the President, the Supreme Court can declare laws or executive actions unconstitutional, the President can withhold assent to bills passed by the National Assembly, a veto, subject to override. Question 2. State 4 functions of the Federal Government of Nigeria. A. Defense, maintaining the Nigerian Army, Navy, and Air Force under the Chief of Defense Staff. B. Foreign Affairs, managing diplomatic relations with other countries through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Nigeria's embassies and high commissions. C. Monetary policy, the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, controls the naira, sets interest rates, and regulates commercial banks. D. Federal infrastructure, building and maintaining federal highways, e.g., Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. International airports, Murtala Muhammad Airport Lagos, Seaport. Question 3. Why does Nigeria operate a federal rather than a unitary system of government? Nigeria's federal system was adopted because A. Ethnic and cultural diversity. Nigeria has over 250 ethnic groups, each with distinct languages, traditions, and interests. A single unitary government in Abuja would be seen as domination by one group. Federalism allows each state, often with a dominant ethnic group, to manage its own affairs. B. Geographical size. Nigeria covers 923,768 square kilometers with very different physical environments, Sahel in the north, tropical forest in the south, Niger Delta, Middle Belt Savanna, requiring different development approaches. C. A historical precedent. The British amalgamated the northern and southern protectorates in 1914 as a federation, reflecting the pre-existing diversity. D. Resource distribution. Different regions have different resources. Oil in the south-south, groundnut/cotton in the north, cocoa in the southwest, Federal revenue sharing manages this. 3 common mistakes. Mistake 1, saying Nigeria has only 2 tiers of government. Nigeria's federal system has 3 tiers: federal, state, and local government area. The LGA, third tier, is constitutionally recognized under the 1999 Constitution. It is not just an administrative unit but a tier of government with its own elected chairman, council, and functions listed in the 4th schedule. Always mention all 3 tiers. Mistake 2, confusing the legislature with the executive. The legislature, National Assembly, makes laws. The executive, president and ministers, implements laws. Students often write the executive makes laws. This is incorrect. The president's role is to implement/enforce laws passed by the National Assembly. The president can propose bills through ministers but cannot unilaterally make law. Mistake 3, forgetting that the judiciary is independent. The judiciary is not part of the executive or legislature, it is the third, independent arm. Judicial independence, protected in the 1999 Constitution, means judges cannot be removed for their decisions. This protects citizens against arbitrary executive action. In exams, always describe the judiciary as independent. Summary. Government, system of authority to make and enforce laws, functions, order, services, defense, economic management. 3 arms: executive, president, governor, chairman, implements laws; legislature, National Assembly/State Hoa/Council, makes laws; judiciary, courts, interprets laws and ensures justice. Separation of powers plus checks and balances prevents dictatorship. 3 tiers: federal, Abuja, president; National Assembly, 109 senators plus 360 reps; defense, foreign affairs, currency, major infrastructure; state, 36 states plus FCT; governor, state Hoa; education, health, state roads; local, 774 LGAs; chairman, council, markets, primary schools, health centers, local roads, refuse. Nigeria federal because 250 plus groups, geographic size, historical precedent, resource distribution. FAAC distributes federal oil revenues to states and LGAs. For homework, A. List 4 functions of each tier of government. B. Explain the concept of separation of powers with Nigerian examples. C. Name the current president of Nigeria and list 3 federal functions they oversee. Attempt a quiz on your LMS. Government works for you, understand it, engage with it. Visit Litech Academy at academy.litech.com.ng. Until next time.